Tampa Bay Lightning start the year on an excellent note. And then the second and third period happened. We'll talk about the Lightning's opening night loss to the Ottawa Senators on today's Locked on Lightning podcast.
You're Locked on Lightning, your daily podcast on the Tampa Bay Lightning, part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked on Lightning your first listen of the day. Every single day, we are your free daily Tampa Bay Lightning podcast, part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, we want to begin by giving a shout out to our everydayers, those of you who tune into every single show, every single day. We love you. We appreciate the support you give us week in, week out. I'm Nick Morgan, and I am joined by the 9 to 5 to my Jolene, Greg Stephen. Greg, we're so happy to have hockey back. And for an hour, it looked like we were going to have something to celebrate today.
It could be a better morning, that's for sure. Fun game, nonetheless, exciting. It's a good start. Look, I mean, obviously they got to win those games, and we'll get into why they lost this game. But a 5-4 game to start is a fun one, and that's the positive I'll take away for now.
I think I'd describe this as a game that if you were just watching as an NHL fan, not a fan of the Tampa Bay Lightning, you would probably walk away from this being like, man, that kicked ass. That was so cool.
Yeah,
what a great game. What a great start to the season.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, because it's us, a little bit more venom this morning. We got to remind each other that it's only one game, so we're not going to make any drastic hot takes about the team after one game. Although I think Greg is going to make a call to Syracuse in about 30 minutes when we're done filming.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for that one. We're going to dive into the game, but first, want to mention today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com and win $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Okay, so let's walk through first with a quick recap. Like we said, everything at the start of the game was super fun. We had a couple of fights, which we're going to talk about that in a little bit. A little bit of a spicy start to this one. And then we also had a couple of goals. Oliver Bjorkstrand and Braden Point, two quick ones in the first 10 minutes. It was 3-1 Tampa Bay after the first period. Nikita Kucherov also had a goal there. And then the wheels just kind of fell off after that. The Senators tied it in the second period. One was a very weird goal. I'm not exactly sure how much you could fully blame Andrei Vasilevsky for it. You had a Shane Pinto breakaway on busted coverage, which we will talk about. Aforementioned busted coverage was a theme in this game. Kind of a stalemate in the third period, and then comes Shane Pinto putting the Lightning putting the Senators up 4-3 with just under 2 minutes left. Yeah, Senators empty net goal, and then Nikita Kucherov in garbage time, a goal that had to be upstairs to confirm to make it 5-4. But at that point, game was over. 5-4, Senators get the win in this one. So what we're going to do here, which we're going to start with in every recap moving forward, is Greg and I are going to do something called plus minus. And this is just what we're going to do in the first block. We're going to give a plus to one thing about the game we really loved. It doesn't necessarily just have to be on the ice. It could just be, yay, hockey's back. That's a plus. And then a minus to something about the game we didn't like. A player, a certain play, a concept. So, Greg, I'm going to start with you. Give me a plus and a minus from this game.
Plus, easiest plus for me is power play. 2 for 3, and we got a Bjorkstrand goal and a Kuch goal, 2 point assists, a Hedman point, a Gensel point. Those are fantastic. They're 66% right now. That's a great sign.
I'm with you right there. The special teams, I think, was something going into it last night that I think we were wanting to see. And, 2 of the Lightning's first 3 goals were on the power play.
Mm-hmm.
You can kind of cheat and just say the empty net goal at the end from Kucherov also counts as a man advantage.
I mean, yeah, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Why not? 2 for 3 on the power play, though, I think is a good sign of things to come. Greg, I'm going to give a plus to the Lightning offense in general because we wanted to see that first line come out swinging. We talked about Jake Gensel maybe getting off to a better start this year. 2 assists from him, including good setup on both of the first 2 goals. You had Nikita Kucherov score 2 goals. You had Braden Point with a 3-point night overall. I thought Victor Hedman was really good at distributing the puck from the blue line. I thought a lot of the depth players, I think, really started to turn it on in the first period. And then my minus is just finishing. And this seems like this is something that it looks back, and we're going to look at this game and break it down and be like, the Lightning should have had this one easily. And you go back and look at sort of the shots on goal, which was wild, 21-11 over the last 2 periods. Lightning only had 4 shots on goal in the third, which is weird because it was tied most of the time. It seemed like they were on their back heels a little bit. I think you're going to look at this game as that was a little bit of a waste because they started out of the gate so strong. And I think even started that second period so strong. And then a lot of the things that cost the momentum, Greg, felt like were self-inflicted.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right.
Yeah. Okay. So give me your minus.
My minus is Darren Radish. Get him out of here. I'm done with it. I don't even want to see it in game 2. I'm sick of this shit. Like, this is what happened all last season. We let this happen, and we lose easy win games because of stupid errors. And Darren Radish made 2 just egregious errors yesterday. Mm-hmm. And I would argue he lost the game for this team. That's just my take. He had 2 assists. I don't give a crap. That means nothing to me. Get him out of here. Bring me Declan Carlisle.
I mean, we're gonna have JJ Moser back soon.
That too, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of Darren Radish plays from not Darren Radish too, so I don't want to put this all on him, although the tying and game-winning goals, I think, were both some breakdowns from his part. Mm-hmm. It was interesting because, Greg, one of the things that you and I said yesterday in our preview that we were going to watch for was how Darren Radish does on the top line, because you're right, that was sort of the perception of him going into the season. Remember, the crazy stat when we did our year in review was that Darren Radish spent almost 70% of his zone starts in the offensive zone, and he's a defenseman. That's kind of unheard of. And I'm not talking about like offensive versus defensive. I'm including neutral zone in that. So 70% of his starts were in the offensive zone. John Cooper last year was so careful about these situations in which to use them, and now all of a sudden he's on the top pair with Victor Hedman, and we said he's going to get more responsibility in this game. Let's see how he does. And Greg, I can see you with the phone in your hand right now, trying to look up Joel Bouchard's number, trying to be like, get me Declan Carlisle from Syracuse right now.
Yeah, I just don't understand how long they need to watch this stuff before they make actual change. Like, look, he had 2 points. He's still -1 in this game. Like, how? He skated the least amount of minutes of all defensemen, and he still gave up basically 2 goals, in my opinion. And I wish I could show you guys the replays, but one is just a horrendous pass from his own zone. Lazy, terrible. Doesn't take he has plenty of time and space. He could easily skate with the puck. He could make a better pass. He could do anything with the puck. He just passes it directly. I think it's right to Pinto maybe. And he just walks in and scores.
And then he couldn't get his man beat when it was a 3-on-1 and couldn't take care of the man crashing into Vazzy with the puck.
Yeah. And they're both very fundamental errors that I was taught when I played high school puck. Like, come on.
Forget Declan Carlisle. Let's put you in.
No, I can't do that.
No.
Get eaten alive out there.
No.
I got 6'9" boys out there now.
Oh yeah, Welcome to the team, Chris. Yeah, it's interesting because I'm trying to not hold my tongue, but try to keep in mind this is one game. It's one game. Victor Hedman has had games like that.
Yeah.
But it also kind of goes to show you when it's a player that we kind of circled as this might be a concern, it kind of makes you go back and think, is this going to look a little bit different maybe in this game on Saturday?
Yeah, and look, like one game is one game. You're right. I completely agree. I just would argue that we've seen this. We saw this all last year too. Like we can say it's one game all we want. It's really like we're either in game. He's been pretty regular for what this is his third year, pretty much. I think being a regular on the Lightning. So this is really game like 170, right? So
well, and let's talk about some of the problems from last year because I think there was a couple that came into play as the game went on, especially in that second and third period. Plus, another spicy start against a team other than the Panthers. Is this the start of a more feisty Tampa Bay Lightning squad? We'll give our thoughts on that all coming up on today's recap show when we come back. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. It's not just the NHL season that's back, folks. Football season is in full swing, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 back in bonus bets if you win. That's right. All you have to do is pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel because it gives me so many different ways to play. I can build parlays, I can do player props, or my favorite thing to do, follow the live lines during games with some live in-game bets. It makes watching sports even more exciting when I've got a little something riding on the action. Whether you're a casual fan or just want to check up on the guys on your fantasy team, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Again, FanDuel.com to download the app and place your first $5 bet. Welcome back to Locked On Lightning. Nick Morgan here alongside Greg Stephen. And Greg, let's dive into the second and third period here because that's when the wheels started falling off for the Tampa Bay Lightning a little bit. You were there. What did you see that kind of turned the tide and put this back towards an Ottawa Senators win?
it's a great question.
I thought you were just going to say Darren Radish again.
Darren Radish is what I saw.
Besides Darren Radish.
No, I think it almost looked like they felt comfortable with the lead they initially set up with the 3-1 and almost got complacent, or they just switched to like a more we can win this by just shutting them down mindset. Whereas I kind of wish they were more aggressive as they were in the beginning, because in the beginning they were flying. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of looked like they just sat on their heels near the second half, latter half. And then when a team scores 4 unanswered goals, I mean, oof. They just
it was 4, yeah.
It was 4 unanswered, yeah. 2 in the second, 2 in the third by the Sens.
Yeah.
So that's super deflating. I think when you leave the second period with no goals and they've notched 2, you're kind of like, uh-oh. And then you come out in the third and you're a little panicked because you're like, why are we losing this game now? Or why are we tied in this game now? Yeah. And then Pinto scores again almost instantly when you get up back on the ice. I think it was like a minute and a half in, maybe something like that, to hold me to it.
Yeah.
And then from there, it's over. So it was actually at the very end of the period, right? Yeah.
For the Pinto goal?
Yeah.
The first one or the second one?
The second one at the beginning of the third, or at the third period. It was
that was just under 2 minutes left in the game.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Right.
Yeah.
Got myself confused for a sec. But yeah, I mean, that's deflating. That's a deflating goal to let in. And especially on the type of error that it was for it to go in. I think it's easy to sit here and criticize players when we're not on the ice. But I also, as someone who played competitive ice hockey for 10 years, when you see a guy make such a simple error, it's frustrating. It's frustrating. And when you watch someone just give the puck away right to the other team and then they just score with 2 minutes left, you're like, bro, you couldn't just hold the puck for 2 seconds and just think a little clearly about what you're doing with the puck.
Yeah.
And I just think that makes everyone like, all right, let's get this. I hate it. I hate it all. Do not like how that all unfolded. And I hope that they correct the defensive errors they've had now for over a year. I'm just so tired of watching this team just cough up the puck for no reason.
Yeah.
It just
and to be fair, it's not all the guy you're talking about.
no, it's not.
Because
It's really not.
we saw some bad giveaways from some really good players last night.
Yeah. I mean, look, Cooch does it all the time too. Like, let's not say like he's not free of it either. It's just like it's less of an issue when Cooch makes a ludicrous turnover in the offensive zone, whereas like in Radish's case, for example, he's in his own corner with no forechecker, and then he just blindly throws the puck up the wall, and that's horrendous. Like that cannot happen. That is not an NHL play.
Yeah, I mean, that was his only giveaway of the game.
Yeah,
saying that, but it is a problem, Greg. And I mean, Victor Hedman had 4 giveaways last night. So, like I said, it's not just Darren Radish that you're looking to be like, what are you doing? I thought there was a lot of turnovers across the board, including some guys that we're never taking out of the lineup. And some of them I would say were just, okay, you tried something and it didn't work.
Yeah.
A lot of them were also just egregious. Like, what are you doing, man? Like, don't make that play. And again, this is just one game.
First game jitters. Yeah.
First game jitters. To me, I want to go back to your point about the energy of the first versus how that translated in the second, because I'm with you. I think that was a huge red flag last night because I saw the same thing where I just didn't seem like they were on the front foot for the second and third period. And I don't want to say like they didn't, it's not like they parked the bus or anything. It's just that I think they kind of stayed stagnant where Ottawa turned things up a little bit. And when the other team turns things up, like if you're down 3-1, you can expect the other team to maybe come out with a little bit of a juice. I just don't think the Lightning did a good job matching the Ottawa energy when the Senators came out. And really, I thought they had a hot start to that second period, and that put them on the back foot a little bit more. And like I meant, like I said, it's hard to dig yourself out of the hole when that happens. Greg, we only had 4 shots on goal the third period. So it's not like, okay, the game is tied, we need to refocus and get recentered. It was almost like they kind of got worse as the game went on in terms of energy, in terms of making smart plays with the puck. Obviously, we can't make rash decisions or rash judgments, I think, after one game.
Yeah, I agree.
But I mean, I did notice that, and that was a point that a lot of people had about the Panthers series last year was, look, we started so strong in all of these games, really, came out fighting, came out swinging, had energy, and then just ran out of gas as some of these games went on. And so it is, I'm not going to say a concern because again, one game, but that is something that I noticed. And I'm like, I hope that's fixed.
Yeah, I think it's unacceptable to look tired or gassed in game one at the end of a game. At home. That just seems very unacceptable to me. As a coach, I would hate that. And I hope that I don't even hope I'm certain that Coop is giving them a hard time about it because you're on home ice. This is your first game of the season. And then you go from flying to just, okay, let's just skate by. And that's not going to work. It's never going to work. No. And we've talked about this. The Senators are a good team.
Yeah.
Let's not pretend this is like an easy win. Like, I know I've seen a lot of comments online like, oh, you can't lose to the Sens. Like, blah, blah, blah. Look, the Senators are great.
You and I both put them in our playoff tier.
Right. The Senators are a great
part of the playoff tier.
Yes. Senators are a great team. Olmark looked good yesterday.
He did look good.
And that's why I don't want to say like, oh, they absolutely should have won this game. The Senators are a great team. I just hate, like you said, it just looked like a little deflated at the end. That's all.
Yeah. Speaking of goaltenders, I want to ask you about your thoughts on Vasilevsky, because there was a little bit of a question mark about him going into this game. Plus, I want to ask you, A, about penalties, and B, about the fights at the beginning, and whether we think this is just maybe a sign the Lightning are going to be a little spicy this year. Let's get to that after the break. Welcome back to Locked On Lightning. Nick Morgan here with Greg Stephen. Greg, before we went to break, you called out Linus Ullmark, who I agree with you. I think had a good game. I think dealt with a couple crazy deflections earlier, which put him in the hole. But again, didn't face a ton of traffic later in the game as the game went on. But I think he did make a couple really good saves to keep the score exactly where it is.
Yeah.
I want to go to the other end of the ice, and Andrei Vasilevsky. What are your thoughts on Vazzy's performance in this game?
Before I go to Vazzy, I just want to make one quick thing about Ullmark. Of the goals that he let in, 3 of them were man up. Just think about that. You know, I thought he played excellent. Back to Vazzy. Actually didn't think he played that poorly. I know a lot of people are going to say that he did because of the numbers that you see on the scoreboard, but that's just not how this game works. I was sitting right next to him, and he made some pretty nice saves. Let me tell you, there were a couple that I thought a lot of goalies would have let in, and he stopped them. So there was that one goal that was a little fluky, and I had a difficult angle where I was sitting, but it like was shot almost from like the blue line, right? Some weird shot went in on him, and again, I think you mentioned it earlier in the show. I don't even think it was really his fault. It was just kind of like an awkward goal. It might have even been deflected. I'm not even sure.
It was. So there's I went back and watched the replay, and I still couldn't tell if it took a bounce, but it was definitely a screen.
Okay.
Like there's definitely like 3 people in front of his line of vision.
Yeah.
And then I think it bounced off the crossbar and off his back.
Mm.
And then you had the breakaway goal, which it's a breakaway goal. And then he actually, on the last goal, made a really good save on a 3-on-1 in which Radish got beat. I don't mean to keep piling on Darren Radish.
I do.
I thought he made a really good initial save. There's just 3 Senators at the net who are ready to just poke the rebound home. So I mean, I don't. None of them, nothing I saw from Vazzy last night made me concerned about Vazzy.
I agree. Yeah, I'm not concerned about Vazzy at all.
Okay, good. I'm glad we're on the same page there, because I thought the speed was there. I thought the quickness is there. There was nothing there that made me think, he might be taking a step back this year.
Right.
Which was a concern for a lot of people going into this game. So I think it's important to put that out. Greg, let's talk about the fights, but it also plays into another thing. Penalties in general last night. You have been preaching so hard this offseason about the Lightning need to clean up penalties. You preached it during preseason. What do you think about the penalties that the Lightning did have yesterday?
I think the worst penalty was probably Chafee's, in my opinion.
Which one? Because there was 2 key Mitchell Chafee penalties in the second.
Yes, and the one that I'm referring to is the holding on Sanderson. And
I'm trying to remember how that one went.
If I recall, he was in the corner and they're not even near the puck anymore. And as Chafee's falling, he kind of wraps him a little and brings him back down with him. And
oh, yeah.
If I'm getting that right?
I think so. I couldn't.
Something like that. He was like falling and brought the guy down with him. I think it was Sanderson, but
yeah. I kind of.
That's a bad penalty. Like,
yeah,
you just fall and get up. like, what are you doing? And like you said, it's not like it was a second penalty of the period in the
Yeah.
second, by the way.
But it is important, and they did clean things up in the third period. It was second because we talk about, the Senators coming up on the front foot and where the Lightning momentum got lost a little bit. And I do think, the Senators didn't score on any of their power plays in the second, but I do think there's other penalties of going shorthanded. That's just that the fact that you can't get your offense out there, the fact that you can't build momentum with the guys you want on the ice. And I thought a couple of those second period penalties, both by Mitchell Chafee, sort of contributed to that, because it seems like they happened right when the Lightning seemed to be maybe playing a little bit crisper. And then, like we said, on the penalty kill, now you have to go back on the back foot a little bit. So I guess that was my only take from those two plays. The other thing, Greg, is we saw a couple of fights in this game.
Yeah.
Curtis Douglas, welcome to the NHL, my friend. We can confirm you are indeed a tall, big boy.
Yeah.
We had a couple of just roughing plays, Brady Tkachuk, of course, getting into it with Brandon Hagel, Anthony Cirelli, another fight, this time with Bill Lilberg. This all happened in the first period. We talked about the Curtis Douglas acquisition. Greg, does it feel like the Lightning might be trying to inject a little bit of vinegar back into the DNA?
I think so. I don't think you go get Curtis Douglas and that's not your objective, right? Like,
yeah,
he's that guy. And I thought I was shocked that they just dropped right there and went for it with 2 minutes into the game. But it was really exciting as a fan to be there and watch that.
Yeah.
And like you said, the whole first period was pretty fiery. Like, they had that huge pile scrum behind the net at one point, which is right where I was sitting, and it was so fun to watch, like, them all pile up right there and go at it. And Hagel was getting into it with the Chuck, and it was fun. And then I think this almost is associated with the Lightning's play in the second and third. That went away. And it was fiery in the first, and they played very well. And then in the second, there was no real fire like that in that regard, like the fighty type, scrummy, hand washing, that's all gone. And then it becomes hockey. And we see the two Chafee penalties that kind of deflate the team. And then there's no other, infractions of any kind. And they lose the period.
Yeah.
And then the same is true in the third.
Mm-hmm.
No penalties, no scrums, no real fights or anything. And
in
they
fact,
lose again
on a power play. They had the only power play of that period.
The only power play. And like you said, they only had 4 shots in the whole period. And they had a power play in that period. And that's an issue.
Yeah.
I would argue, like you were kind of bringing up earlier, are they headed toward becoming my more fiery, energized, physical squad? Mm-hmm. I'd say yes. And I'd say that when they do that, they actually play better hockey as well. Mm-hmm. And when they don't do that, they play worse hockey. And I think they need to see that, because I think their game is being a little scummy out there, like,
yeah.
I like when Hagel's pissed off. When Hagel's pissed off, stuff gets done.
Yeah.
And he wasn't pissed off in the second and third, and stuff did not get done. And that's just my take.
Yeah. The Lightning DNA, it feels like over the past 15 years or so, has been some sandpaper. And that's all. I agree with you. Whenever you go back and look at the Lightning's best years, there was somebody, whether it was like the Brian Boyle years, whether it was Alex Killorn, whether it was Steve Downey, whether it was like, Blake Coleman, like Easymont, Barclay Goodrow, there is always somebody, or at least a couple players that, like you said, I think injected some energy into the game. I don't remember, and Greg, maybe you know better than I do, I don't remember them exactly being like fighty. I remember them, getting into scraps, going after whistle. I don't remember if I remember like the last time we had just like a full-on Curtis Douglas who was just going to go out there in the first 5 minutes and drop the gloves.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're
Yeah,
right.
or even somebody like Lilleberg, who has fought a lot lately.
Yeah, well, let me throw my compliments to Lilleberg. No penalties on his first game. I mean,
Other than
he had a
Mike,
fight.
yeah,
He had a fight, but like that doesn't count for me. That's an acceptable penalty.
yeah,
No penalties, and he was even. He didn't have a minus or anything.
yeah. Shout out to Lilleberg. It's going to be interesting to see because I'm with you. I think they just need energy. I'm not necessarily saying it has to be fights.
Right.
But I think if anything, the past couple weeks has shown us it's that I think John Cooper wants more of a culture of we're going to go toe to toe with people
Mm-hmm.
if they cross that line. And B, I think you might also be seeing an intentional effort to get back to the Tampa Bay Lightning from a few years ago when they won back-to-back cups and they had those, sort of the middle six and bottom six that not necessarily were looking for fights, but going out there and playing physical, creating some energy.
Yeah,
And I'm
instigators.
instigators. Yeah. The pests. I love seeing it. In the first period, I'm with you. I think the second and third period, they needed more of that.
Mm-hmm.
And being on the back foot, I think a little bit robbed them. And also another point, just give credit to Ottawa because they did
Yeah,
really, really well with puck possession and forcing
absolutely.
some of those bad giveaways. So,
Ottawa's a
you know,
good team, man.
yeah,
I'm telling people, do not sleep on this team. They're going to be so good.
yeah, I'm with you. So it'll be interesting to see moving forward what the Tampa Bay Lightning learn from this game because there were a lot of positives and we saw some of those
Yeah.
positives in action. Just need to find a way to put it all together.
Yep.
The next game, Saturday night, tomorrow night,
Yes.
Tampa Bay at home again, taking on the New Jersey Devils, and then a rare 1 p.m. showdown this coming Monday. So
It's a
join us.
long road trip too, I believe, right? It's like a 4 or 5 game road trip. I think.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
They're out for I want to say 10 days. So
Yeah. Makes sense.
So join us Monday.
Let me
We'll have
toss
a
3
recap.
announcements out here real quick before we leave.
Go ahead.
Number 1, moving forward, Fan of the Week is going to be its own entity. So we're going to have a separate video that's going to be posted on YouTube and maybe Podio. I don't know. But regardless, it'll be separate from the actual episodes moving forward, but they still will be posted. And Fan of the Week will continue. It'll just be its own little video. That's something I wanted to throw out there so people don't get lost with that.
Mhm.
The second thing is I took a ton of photos yesterday at the game, and I'm going to be doing that at all the home games. So on Instagram, I'm going to post some actual photos from the game from where I was sitting, from all the things that I saw. So check those out. They're going to be uploaded later today. And the third thing escaped me, so forget it.
We'll come back. The third thing is that Greg has found Joel Bouchard's phone number and is called to Syracuse right now.
I'm on hold.
Yeah, you will see Declan Carlisle in the lineup tomorrow, or you'll see a restraining order against Locked On Lightning. Either one.
That's more likely, probably.
There we go. Hey, keep following us during the season on social media as well. You can find us at Locked On Lightning on Instagram, and then on TikTok the same. Find us on Twitter at LO_Lightning as well. We're excited to hear from you guys. That's going to do it for us on today's Locked On Lightning. Thanks for making us your first listen of the day. We'll be back Monday with an all-new episode. We'll see you guys then.